Hi guys, welcome to another episode of AJAWI TV. I'm AJAWI, and for today I'll be answering another one of my followers' question. Alright? So the question today is how do I know if a contractor or a builder is not putting sufficient or the right proportion of material within my building? Or I think the person was asking from a standpoint of quality assurance, right? So the person asked, how do I know if the person isn't shortchanging me, or they are using inferior building materials within the building in an effort to save money, right? So I decided to break that up, right? And for today, I'll be focusing on concrete, right? Because we're Jamaicans and we mostly use concrete, block and steel for our construction. All right, so let's look at that in a little bit more detail.
All my life I had to fight, I ain't taking no ill, I paid the price. Remember them days we ain't had no lights, now I'm up 2K, I ain't talking no spikes. Just drop me an ammunition.
Now, whenever we're doing construction, right? If it is that you engage a proper site manager or construction manager, he will know the necessary tests to carry out, or you as the homeowner can actually ask him to carry out these tests. And some of these tests are very simple to do, while you have some that are very difficult. Now, you as the homeowner, you come on site and you see your contractor is mixing concrete, right? Now, concrete, the properties of concrete are the reason why we use concrete is because it has a high compressive strength, right? That's the whole reason why we use concrete, because it has a lot of resistance against crushing power, right? So as the homeowner, you go on site and you see the man them mix concrete, and you're saying, okay, cool, but how do you know that what the guys are actually mixing is the right proportion? Here is how you can know. This is the first method that you can use. You can simply look at concrete, right? You can simply look at what they're doing. If it is that you see the area around or where they're mixing is dirty, as in, I know that you might not think about it, but dirt within concrete is not a good thing, right? So you don't want to contaminate the mix. So if it is that you see a contractor is mixing concrete on the ground where there's dust or dirt, then it should not be happening. You're compromising your concrete, right? So that's one. So look to see where your contractor is mixing concrete. Now the second method is the second option that you have as a homeowner, right, to know if the concrete that you're getting is good. Look at how workable the concrete is. So if you go on your site, right, if you're there and you see your contractor mixing your concrete, and you go on and you see them, they mix cement, the hard aggregate, coarse aggregate and fine aggregate together. But if it is that it is too easy or too runny, then that's not a good mix. So you'll hear your workmen or the mason say, "Yo, Chargy, make it a little bit more soupy there." That's because he wants to be able to work with the concrete easier. But that ease is not necessarily a good thing, because the way that they're going to make the concrete more malleable or more workable is by adding more water to the mix. And that will throw off the ratio of cement, sand, and gravel. Cement, sand, gravel, and water, right? You don't want a situation where you have too much water within the concrete to to mix out, because then you'll have a situation where the mix is too weak, right? So that's the first test that you can do. You can just simply look and see if the concrete that they're mixing is runny. You know, it's thin. Now here's the test that you will more or likely, you won't necessarily see it if you're on a site that you don't have a trained contractor, right? Now there's a thing called a slump test, right? As a contractor, you will know that you're supposed to do a slump test on concrete to see how workable the material is and to see if you're getting the right mix. Now, a slump test is where they put the concrete, they mix the concrete, right? Make sure that the batch ratio is correct, and then what they will do is they have a cone, right? It's like an upside down cone. They put it down and then they throw concrete within it, and they throw it in layers. They don't throw it all at once. They throw it in layers and then push a stick down in it and tamp it and kind of like vibrate it so that it compacts within the cone, right? And then they throw it again. So they do it what, 1/3, tamp it down, then another 1/3, they tamp it down, and then another one, and then they tamp it again, and then they clean off the top with the rod that they were used to tamp it. They clean it off, right? Once they lift the concrete, once they lift the cone from around the concrete will fall, right? Because it once you throw it in the cone, once you take the cone off of it, the concrete is going to fall. But here's the thing, as a homeowner, it's not supposed to fall too far away, right? It's not supposed to collapse totally. So you as the homeowner can do that test, or can ask your contractor to do that test, since you're on site and you want to ensure that you're getting the right mix of concrete within your building. You can say to your contractor, hey, I want a slump test done to see if you're putting the right ratio of concrete within my building. When you lift the cone, or when the contractor lifts the cone off of the concrete, the concrete will fall, right? Now it's not supposed to fall all the way. What he will do is then turn the cone upside down and then measure how far that fall is. In the situation where the fall totally fall apart, or the concrete totally fall away, then you can look at your contractor and say, hey, this is not a good mix. You're not putting the right amount of cement, sand, and gravel within the building, and cement, sand, gravel, and water. You're not creating a good mix for my building, which means that I'm going to have an inferior structure, right? Now, if it falls a little but doesn't collapse totally, then that's good. If when he lifts it, it falls and then break off, that's not good, right? So you would want it to fall a little, right? So that means that it is malleable, it is workable, but it's not a poor concrete mix, right? Now, the final test that you can request from your contractor, and I actually witnessed this test on a couple of projects that I have been on, right? Where I was working on the Bagwat Gorge, right? And I was a supervisor for a night shift, right? Now we're preparing the area or the surface to take concrete in the morning. So we prep the area in the morning, premix would come in and pour concrete, right? But here's the thing, they have a cube. We had a cube. The contracting company that employed me had some cubes, right? That every time we get concrete from premix, we had to, before they place the concrete, they had to pour it in within that cube. We would take more than one sample, right? So that's a sample. And then once we take that sample, we put that aside. Once that sample cures, we send it to a testing lab, right? Where they put it under pressure. So they put it in a machine, and the machine will compress it to see the compressive strength of that particular concrete. If it is poor, there's a ratio, or there's a certain minimum that the concrete should meet. So for a 3000 psi concrete, if that's what is specified on your drawing or within your bill of quantities, if the concrete fails, I'd say, so say the minimum that the architect or the architectural technologist specified was 3000 psi, right? If it failed below that, then you know that it is not good concrete based on the specification. And as a homeowner who engaged somebody or engaged a contractor, right, and you gave him a contract to do that job, to say, okay, this is the building that you're going to be making, this is the timeline, etc., etc., right? If that concrete that the contractor put within the building is inferior concrete, then that is room for you as the homeowner to say, hey, you did not deliver on our contract, so therefore you're gonna have to probably knock down that wall and rebuild it out of pocket. That's the power of having your bill of quantities done, having your drawings done, and having a bidding done, or having more than one contractor bid on your project, so that you can have having a bit of noise in the background. But we're here, we want to do this live. So anyways, so if you have those things in place, you can then say to that contractor, hey, you have to have a test done on this concrete to ensure that it is not inferior, and you are requesting a test done at X and X point in the project. Or you can be just off the bat, just at any point you go on site, you can always say, hey, I need a sample of the concrete that you're using to ensure that you're putting in the right mix. Another thing I would say to you as a homeowner, if you have the money, right? If you have the money where you can say, all right, you're going to get proper mix done, just go pre-mix, and you pay for your concrete, they deliver on a certain time. Yes, you organize with your contractor to ensure that he has everything in place, so he's coordinating with premix for them to come at a particular time. But that is an expensive route to go to. So I would say to you, just have your slump test done, take samples, and if it is that you feel like the slump test has failed and you need further guarantee, then go for the compressive test. So you get the cube done and you just send it to a lab to get it tested. But we're looking at small scale construction, so most of the time we don't do that. That's just the truth, right? We don't do that. As we're doing a small 2-bedroom house, we don't necessarily do that, which is bad practice. You should be able to get a slump test done on any site, right? No matter the size of the building, because when a wall fall down and drop on somebody, it doesn't matter if it's an expensive house or not, it's still going to kill somebody, right? So just request your slump test and you should be good as it relates to concrete. So I'll speak in another video on your steel work, because that's another area that is very critical. All right, so thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for sharing. I appreciate your comments so far. I appreciate your questions, so keep them coming. And I want to ask you guys to stay safe. Take the instructions from the government. They're trying to save us. They're trying to keep us safe, right? So try and abide by the rules that are set out by the government at this time, because this thing is really serious. So stay safe, guys, and I'll see you next time. All right.